Greatness today, baby. Greatness today. All day long. Fire up! Fire up! Oh yeah, put him back here. My fault. No, you're good. That was on purpose.
It wasn't though, bro.
Welcome to a live report from the 66th Chiefs training camp, the 15th in St. Joseph, the 13th under Andy Reid, the winningest team among the NFL, NBA, and MLB over the past 10 years. We are in St. Joseph, Missouri on the campus of Missouri Western State University. Welcome to training camp. And our live stream this morning brought to you by the folks at Mosaic, the official presenting sponsor of Chiefs training camp here and the official healthcare provider of the Chiefs training camp. So impactful in the four-state area. That's Mosaic. Hi, everyone. I'm Mitch Holthus, voice of the Chiefs, along with senior team reporter Matt McMullen. We are in the flow and on the go, and of course, with a live stream, a threat of rain.
It's only 75 degrees out here, which is crazy. We've had heat indexes north of 100 degrees just about every single day. We might get rained on, but as long as it doesn't lightning, we'll be out here with the people. So,
well, we've been here before. We've had a little bit of everything happen in our time in St. Joseph over the years, but there's real excitement around this camp. People have wondered, hey, how the team respond after losing in the Super Bowl, in Super Bowl 59 to the Eagles. But you and I have seen it ever since March. This team is raring to go. I don't sense any kind of hangover. In fact, I sense just the opposite.
Yeah, we talked about this in our podcast yesterday. Check that out on the Chiefs YouTube page. But one thing that really stuck with me several months ago is Coach Reid said that he really enjoys the process of getting through the offseason, getting through camp, and getting into the season. And I think the reason a lot of teams that lose the Super Bowl run into a hangover is they're too worried about fast-forwarding to the Super Bowl again. You can't do that. It's too difficult to get to the Super Bowl in the first place. You have to embrace the process every single day. How do we get better today on July 24th up here in St. Joseph? That's this team's focus.
Infrastructure, something that you and I have talked about ever since that Super Bowl, that carries you through the difficult times, whether it's in the Super Bowl or during the regular season. There were 28 free agents when that Super Bowl ended for the Chiefs. 14 decided to re-sign. We've also seen Trey Smith get extended for the next part of his NFL life. The same with keeping guys like Charles Omenihu or Nick Bolton, now moving on with George Karlaftis. But we're going to start with the defensive line this morning. And one thing we try to do, whether it's with our podcast or these live streams, is bring you wherever you're at in the world right here to St. Joseph at training camp. And we're going to start with the defensive line today. This is a group now, 14 guys on the defensive line. It gets a little crazy because those guys will blend inside and outside. That'll be part of the theme of this morning. But 7 inside defenders, 7 outside defenders. But overall, you could argue this is the most talented group of the defensive linemen overall, at least in maybe the Andy Reid era.
Yeah, the depth is really impressive, I think. And at the end of the day, if you look at roster math over the last several years, the Chiefs have kept 9 defensive linemen each of the last 2 years, kept as many as 10, though, in 2022. That's the precedent. So some good players aren't going to make this team, and that's a good problem to have. It's possible players that have been on this team in previous years along the defensive line won't make it, but that's what camp is all about. It's everyone elevating. And if you find a player that maybe wasn't on your radar when camp began, but by the end of camp, it's like, we can't let this guy go, that's a good thing for the entire team, and we've seen that over the years. We're going to talk through it, but what's kind of interesting is among the 8 players that recorded double-digit snaps for the Chiefs last year along the defensive line, 8 are back this year. Issue is 2 of them that are gone are pretty significant, and Turk Wharton and Derek Nottie got to find a way to replace that production.
But excellent draft picks in this room as well, because Ashton Gelati, we'll talk about that, and Omar Norman Lott are guys that could have an impact right away in Sao Paulo against the Chargers. But one guy who's going to make the team, when Aaron Donald retired after his great career with the Rams, it was generally thought the best interior defensive lineman in this league is Chris Jones. We have seen him take games over. You saw his sack in the 22 AFC Championship game when he was able to move outside. dominated Super Bowl 54 in the third quarter with 3 passes defended in a single quarter in a Super Bowl. That's rarely happened with a defensive player. But I will tell you this, and you and I have seen it over the past 4 months. Chris Jones has repurposed himself. He has worked as hard as I've ever seen him work in the offseason, and he told us why.
I've watched you this spring, and starting this camp, it's like you have kind of restarted. Like you have worked so hard. Why?
Getting older, can't take these moments for granted. Enjoying the process. Love being back out here with my teammates, being fun with the new guys, and we had a insufficient ending last year. Lost in the Super Bowl, so it's a lot I carry on my shoulders, and looking forward to this season.
Your group, and I'm going to include the whole defensive line here. How much talent is in that group of guys that you've noticed, and how have you seen it grow?
I mean, you take a guy like George Holthus over the years, watch how he's grown and how productive he's been for us. You watch a guy like Felix, who is still young but still growing, who is going to get more opportunities this year. We got a healthy Charles this year, so we got a lot of talent on the D-line. We just got to put it together.
One of the most impressive things you do, but we do as a defense, is the whole inside-outside transition. You win the AFC Championship game against the Bengals by going outside. What about the skill level of the guys to be able to do not only what you do, but other guys to go inside-outside and like a Charles?
Yeah, we got a lot of talent, a lot of hybrid guys who can play inside and outside. Give a guy like Charles, who naturally is a DN, but we can move him inside to play 3-tech. He can rush the passers from the inside. A guy like Mike Dana, who's been around, who's rushed inside and outside. And I think that's a trend here, getting guys who can rush inside and outside and being able to have guys that's flexible that we can move along the D-line.
Final question. It has to deal with getting off the field on third down. How much of that is a priority this year, and how much of it a priority to get pressure with 4 without, we know we got great blitzes, but getting pressure with 4 on third and long?
I think it's a huge emphasis this offseason. We was top 20 in sacks last year, which we took a dent. This year is getting back to where we're sacking the quarterback, getting off the field on third down, and creating havoc amongst us 4 D linemen.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Appreciate your work.
Absolutely. Love you, my guy.
Chris Jones has always had the infectious smile. We've seen it since 2016. But what he has now is a new purpose, and physically is working, again, very hard. But what he alluded to there, and you and I talked about this before we went on live here, is not only the overall depth of this team, but its ability to be versatile, to move outside and inside. Mike Dana, Chris, we've seen him do it, and of course it starts to rain.
Here we go.
Here we are.
This is a training camp live stream tradition right now. Mitch and Matt in the rain.
So you've seen the Perfect Storm movie, yes. I don't know who George Clooney is and who Marky Mark is, but yeah, you can fill it in. But the point is here, the versatility is big for this team on the defensive line, because when a quarterback for the opponent studies our team, they look at personnel, but they also look at where they line up, and the Chiefs will drive you crazy with that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you talked about the 2022 AFC Championship game, that sack by Chris. Well, he was inside until the very last second. Him and Charles Omenihu swap spots, then Chris gets the sack that helps the Chiefs win that game. That versatility is so important because most players can't do that. And Steve Spagnuolo really values that versatility. Think about the Giants team that beat the 07 Patriots. Well, they ran the 4 aces defensive front with 4 defensive ends. We have that here, too. It's called the NASCAR formation. And you have guys like Mike Dana inside, Charles Omenihu inside. Charles, particularly with that length, can get up like this and overwhelms a guard. So that versatility is so important, and they're working on that stuff out here.
Charles made a play today, in fact, using that very length to destroy a play that was perfectly set up by the offense. But then you look at guys like Felix Anudike-Uzomah and what he was able to do. He's had 3 stops on runs in the playoffs so far in his career, things that can be easily overlooked. But then let's just touch on the new guys, because Omar Norman-Lott, we have seen him with his first step quickness, and then Ashton Gelati, who feels like the new George Karlaftis, because the fact that he's versatile and also impactful. These guys can help the team day one. on.
So the numbers with Norman Lott are crazy. He had the top pass rush win rate and win percentage of any interior defensive lineman in the FBS last year, and he finished second on Tennessee in pressures last season behind only James Pierce, who was a first-round pick, despite ranking 20th on the team in defensive snaps. So talking about a player that could help fill that Tershawn Wharton role, I think Norman Lott could definitely do it.
And George Karlaftis, I think you and I agree, this could be a breakout year for George. Not that he's been so consistent and so good in the playoffs. It's been overlooked by people that follow the National Football League. 8 sacks in the postseason. More importantly, 2 forced fumbles. You're looking at Karlaftis rising. You're looking at Chris Jones being the elite inside defender in the league, and then a Mike Dana, most underrated guy, maybe now that Nadi's gone, that's on this team. And then the new guys added. There's real excitement, but you just have to do the roster math that you alluded to. Guys like Mike Pennell, you've got to have 2-gap pluggers. And so I'm just super excited about the 14 guys on this roster.
Yeah, again, the depth is really impressive, and I think George has a chance to have a huge year. You mentioned the 8 postseason sacks. That's the most in the NFL since 2022. Of any player in the league, George Karlaftis has the most. And since Week 12 of the 2022 season and the regular season, his 24 sacks rank 11th in the NFL, led all Chiefs defensive linemen in snaps last year with 831 and had 61 pressures. And his best football, I think, is ahead of him. That's why you re-sign a player like George, who's 25 years old, 26 years old. I really think he's a budding star. And when you have those anchors like George and Chris Jones and these other players around him like Charles Omenihu, Mike Dana, we think Felix Anudike-Uzomah, when given an opportunity, has made some plays. And Ashton Gelati as well. It's just a really solid group where you can have fresh legs throughout the entire game. You're not relying on just 1 or 2 big-time pass rushers. You have several players that you can rely on. That's just a big luxury, I think, for this defensive line.
Last year, George Karlaftis had 28 quarterback hits and hurries. That was 5th in the National Football League. 5th. So you can also really underrate George Karlaftis. Now let's pivot as we close out this live stream from here in St. Joseph. Again, brought to you by Mosaic, official healthcare provider of the Chiefs training camp and the presenting sponsor. They do an amazing job here. A lot of them are in the tent next to us on the left. But let's go to running back now, because if there is a theme to this camp, there's going to be tough cuts made. Brett Veach and his staff has done an amazing job of adding to the talent of this roster, which has been to 7 straight AFC championship games, an all-time NFL record, winning 5 of those, winning 3 Super Bowls. This team has the potential to be better. Now, at running back, this is going to get really interesting. And the Chiefs have added to the roster, losing Samaje Perine. He was so good last year for us, now back to being a Bengal again.
Hate that.
Me too. I'm trying to get over it. There are 6 running backs in this camp. 6. Doesn't seem like a lot, but you're only going to have 3 or 4 slots. This is going to be tense over the next 3 to 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah, good competition there because the Chiefs have only kept 3 running backs in each of the last 2 years. Kept as many as 5 in 2022, but that's pretty rare. I mean, I think 3 to 4 running backs making this team is probably what's going to happen. We'll see how it plays out. But again, there's going to be some players that you know their name and they don't make this team. And I think one of the main battles to watch here is Carson Steele, who's one of the camp darlings last year, and Elijah Mitchell, who came over from the San Francisco 49ers, a player that was really good when he was healthy with San Francisco, has good speed as well, rushed for 1,500 yards and 9 touchdowns on just 327 carries over the last 4 years, averaging 4.7 yards per carry. He's just been injured a lot, but he's healthy now. So can he earn a spot on this team, or can Carson Steele earn a spot on this team? We'll find out over the next 3 weeks.
Another stat about Elijah Mitchell: set a 49ers rookie record, almost 1,000 yards as a rookie. That's an all-time 49er record. You're going, wait a minute, what about Christian McCaffrey? He started as a Carolina Panther.
Yeah.
So the fact that Elijah Mitchell, when healthy, can be very impactful for this team. But one guy who has, if Chris Jones is working his tail off and shown a resurgence, we've seen this also this spring. Isaiah Pacheco, remember, injured early last year. It affected the entire season. Pacheco, such a great start to his career. 2 Super Bowl championships in his first 2 years. Matt had a chance to catch up with Pop, and Pop is ready to go.
All right, down here with Isaiah Pacheco. Isaiah, we just wrapped up day 2 of training camp. How's it going so far?
Oh, it's a beautiful day. The atmosphere is awesome. The fans are loud. It's a great environment.
Now, you had the injury last year. Obviously, you're on the verge of a huge season before that happened. You look healthy now, though. How's the ankle feeling?
It's feeling great, phenomenal. Just excited to be out here with my brothers, my teammates, just compete.
Yeah, I feel like some people don't like training camp. I think you love training camp based on your energy every single day down here. What do you love about being in St. Joe?
I love the competition. It's always a high level. You get always going to have days where you're going to hit that bump, but that's where it's about, finding ways to get over the hump and compete and find that edge.
So I asked you this last year. Obviously, the injury prevented it, but what would 1,000 yards rushing mean to you this year? Because you can totally do it.
It's going to mean the world to me. Not only that, my teammates. It hasn't been one here in a while. Just being consistent and taking it day by day. That's what it's all about.
You mentioned your teammates. You have some new faces in your running back room this year. Elijah Mitchell is new, Brashard Smith out of SMU.
Yes.
Tell me about your room a little bit. What do you like about it?
I love the guys, man. It's a good unit. You got guys finding ways to get better, and that's what it's about, coming out here and finding that one thing and pinpointing it, detailing the work, and find that edge.
And offensively, Patrick's talked a lot about the focus of this year's group, how excited you guys are to attack next season. Tell me about that a little bit, your guys' excitement for this year offensively.
Yes, it starts with the leaders, the accountability, coming out here with their feet in the ground and their cleats and showing that they're working hard and just leading by example.
Day 2 in the books, Isaiah. Good luck.
Thank you.
Isaiah Pacheco being back and healthy is a big thing. I asked him Tuesday, when are you going to get the next 48-yard run? Remember his run against the Jets a couple of years ago. He said, hey, maybe in Brazil. This team lacked big plays, explosive plays from the running backs a year ago. Again, 6 guys in this camp. But let's start before the explosion to Kareem Hunt. We've got to mention him and the fact that the Chiefs last year, #1 in the NFL on 2nd down and 5 or less. 78 snaps they had with that down and distance. It was 3rd down that was the problem. It wasn't 1st down. And the fact that they weren't losing yardage, they were gaining yardage on 1st down. Kareem Hunt has value to this team.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Chiefs had the fewest negative rushes of any team in the NFL last year, and Kareem was a huge part of that. Kareem's story last season is crazy because he joined this team in week 4, ended up leading the Chiefs in scrimmage yards, carries, rushing yards, and rushing touchdowns. I mean, he saved this team offensively in so many ways. We had to change the way that we played last year because we lost so many major contributors early in the season, Isaiah included. But having Kareem back, and Kareem doesn't have to be the only guy now because Isaiah is back. And it's a testament to Isaiah that he fought through his rehab and found a way to get back to this team late in the year. But you know how it is. It's difficult when you have an injury like that. You miss like 8 weeks. You're not necessarily always going to be the same when you come back later in the season. Well, we're almost a year removed from that injury now, and he looks energized and ready to go. Don't forget, Isaiah, from 2022 through 2023, rushed for nearly 2,000 yards and averaged 4.7 yards per carry in 32 games, and he's healthy and motivated now. So you combine him with Kareem Hunt and the other guys we have in this running back room, I feel pretty good about it.
There has to be power in your run game. There has to be.
And Kareem brings that.
He does, and along with Pop. Pop gives you enough power. All right, so Saquon Barkley's not on this team, but collectively you get enough power. Now, as we close this live stream, the guy we will talk about is Brashard Smith.
Yeah.
Matt and I are as excited about him as maybe any of the rookies, and we're going to talk about Josh Simmons later. But Brashard Smith brings an element to this team that has been missing for a while. Even when Jerick McKinnon was in the speed back, 3rd down back role, he did not run a 4.39. And there's times that Brashard Smith looks faster than that. Let's go back. The lack of explosive plays from the running backs a year ago, a bit of an issue, even though the team made the Super Bowl. How can they be better in 25? You're going to get a 9-yard pass that turns into a 79-yard touchdown. Smith gives you that opportunity.
He brings a completely different dynamic to this backfield than what we've had in recent years. And it's not a quite apples-to-apples comparison, but, yeah, he kind of reminds me of Jerick in a lot of ways in terms of what Jarrett brought to this offense. Think about McKinnon's value in the red zone a couple years ago as that kind of receiving running back. And Brashard Smith is a former receiver, only started playing running back last year at SMU, and he was really good at it. He averaged 5.7 yards per carry at SMU last year. He had nearly 2,000 all-purpose yards, ranked 4th in the FBS last season, and he was the only player in the FBS to record 1,300 rushing yards, 300 receiving yards, and 300 kick return yards. So it's not just offense. I think we've seen it throughout OTAs and this camp so far. He's going to help us on special teams too.
The kick and punt returns where it also gets exciting, and we've seen him rep there. Keep in mind with Brashard Smith, he wears number 30. There's 2 number 30s in camp. He's the 30 on red, the offensive side. But of the all-purpose running backs last year in FBS, number 1, Ashton Genty. We know about him. 2, Cam Scatabo, Arizona State. 3, Amarian Hampton. 4, Brashard Smith. you're talking an explosive player in the running back room. It's crowded. We didn't mention Elijah Young. You Mizzou fans will remember him before he went to Western Kentucky and blew up. And then you mentioned Carson Steele. It's going to get tense. There are 6 in the room. 4 at the most can probably make this team. But special teams becomes big for Brashard Smith. If you get an explosive, this team has not had a punt return or a kick return for a touchdown in 5 seasons. Brashard Smith could possibly give you that, and you win a game you won by 1 possession last year because you get a big explosive play and a return.
Quick clip this right now. Brashard Smith is going to have a return touchdown this year. Saying it on July 24th. I'm confident he's going to do that just because of his speed element and the way that kickoffs are going to change this year. We kind of thought it would happen last year. It didn't really. But now a touchback's going to the 35-yard line, not the 30. Teams don't want to mess with that. So there's going to be a bunch more opportunities to return kickoffs. And if Brashard Smith is back there, I just have a feeling he's going to take, hopefully, at least 1 to the house.
Here's our goal, Matt and me and all of our 65 TPT crew during the time at camp. We have you viewing from all around the world. We know the Chiefs Kingdom is vast, but we want you to feel like you're here, either with our podcast on Defending the Kingdom or these live streams. So make sure you're ready to go in camp with this team. But today, know that there are 14 defensive linemen. There are 6 running backs. It is going to be tense and competitive as the days go on here in St. Joseph. Thanks to Mosaic, the official presenting sponsor of this training camp and the official healthcare provider of this training camp. For Matt McMullen, I'm Mitch Holthus. Stay tuned, stay on it, stay focused. It's training camp time for a team that has been under the radar, believe it or not, in the offseason of 2025.